Hello and welcome back to another episode of Gaining Clarity. Today I'm joined by Christina Willems. Oh my god, I can't believe you're here on this podcast with me.
I know, right? This feels surreal.
Cause like, when did I meet you? Literally a year ago.
I think it was more than that. Maybe
It
a year
was
and a half.
March of 2022. That's when you started teaching, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I feel like it's been longer. This girl
No,
literally.
as soon as we met, it felt like that.
Yeah?
To me.
I don't remember.
To me, at least.
My
No.
memory is like.
When we first met and you said you went to New Milford, and I was like, oh my god, my best friend lives in New Milford, Lauren, and then her boyfriend at the time came, and
friends with all the people I went to high school with.
Yes, ironically, New Milford is like such a special spot to me for no reason. Like Lauren and Gerard's studio, Gerard, you, like New Milford has just become such a pivotal. I don't know why. What the fuck is New Milford?
Because you don't live there, that's why.
That's what Lauren says all the time. She's like, you don't get it. My town fucking sucks, and you know.
It's alright. It's mediocre, but
No, but ever since we met, I felt like we definitely chilled in a past life.
for sure.
Yeah.
We've chilled.
We were
in a past life.
galloping in the fucking field somewhere, maybe farming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dancing at a rave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That. Yeah.
You literally introduced me to, like, you didn't introduce me to yoga, but like yoga teaching. I was there for your first yoga class.
You
I don't think I took it
were.
though. I was just at the front desk.
Maybe. Yeah. Oh my god.
I don't know, but I literally saw you like blossom, I feel like. Which is literally why like I also felt inspired to do teacher training, because I was like, oh, if she can do it, like I can do it.
Of course.
Because you just like look
Anybody
so
can do it.
confident.
Girl, I was so
like
fucking
confident
nervous.
people like inspire me, or people that at least
Because we're
act
attracted to confidence, because we want to feel that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
But anybody can do that.
Yeah,
But I
for
mean, only if you have the calling. But nobody would do it unless they felt called to do it.
Yeah.
And once you feel called to do it, you have to do it. You have to share your fucking light. You have to share your gift, because it's fucked up if you don't. If you keep it to yourself. Today we're going to talk about
Grief.
grief.
I just thought that was a good preface to say how I knew you, because
Yes, our
I knew
connection.
you pre-grief.
Yes.
Christina.
Grief.
And now I know you post,
Yeah.
and a lot has changed.
A lot has changed.
And I think it's, I don't know, I really like the way that you look at it and the way that you talk about it. And you
Have
also
to.
brought like a mini revelation within myself about what grief can look like. More than just losing a person. Personally, I'm really grateful. I've never lost a person in my life yet, like family or anything that was close to me. But grief can show up,
Physically, you never
in
lost
other
them
words,
physically.
physically, yeah.
Okay.
But
It's different.
right, because I've lost friends and stuff.
Yeah. You've lost relationships. You've lost old versions of you. Old versions of other people. Death is not the only way we can lose people. I've known grief for a long time, since I was 13 years old. I think that was my grandpa died. Maybe I was 11. And then shortly after that, my cousin passed from cancer. And then it just, great aunts, uncles. And then when I was 17, one of my close friends died in a car accident. And his brother's actually coming to the workshop, which I'm super excited about.
Yay.
I'm still very close with the family. And boyfriend's mom died. And just, I've always had that. I always thought it was normal. I said to my therapist, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, everybody has people that die, like friends, family, colleagues. She's like, that's kind of a lot. I was like, oh, I mean, I guess. It's what I've always known. But more recently, you know this, telling our subscribers, I lost my boyfriend 8.5 months ago. And I actually have to reframe the way I say that, because I didn't lose him at all. And I know I sound fucking nuts, but
No, share your truth.
he has, when we die, we don't really go anywhere. My baby was still very much my boyfriend. Manuel and I, we found each other at a time where I was very much, like you were just saying, on my own journey. Me and me, nobody else, celibate, not messing with anybody else's energy, no blah, 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 nothing unless it was a soul tie. We're very much the same.
Yeah, I
with that.
understand.
And I was, I would say no to people. I'm like, nope, not interested. I'm on my own journey. I'm on my own path. And I met him, at the bar he was working at. And I actually went to scout him. Not just me, but my friend was like, oh, I met this bartender. He's so cute. He's got green eyes. He's Colombian. He does yoga. Like, you have to meet him. And I'm like, girl, no, I don't care. I'm not into it. I'm not looking for anything. She's like, no, please, you have to meet him. So I said, fine. Went to the bar, met him. He was our server, obviously. And then he asked for my number. And he had no idea that we were there to scout him. So I was like, oh my God, that's kind of funny. But at the same time, no, I'm not interested.
Uh-huh.
So I gave him my number because I'm like, whatever. And we texted a little bit for a few weeks. And I was like, you know why I was so fucked up? Because I was still heartbroken from this other guy from like a year prior. I was so heartbroken. So I was really trying to mend my heart back together with just me. I wasn't ready. I was scared. And I told my mom to come to my yoga class because it was 10 minutes away. I was in Dumont. And he did. A few weeks later, he came. He showed up 15 minutes after class had ended. So I literally was going outside. I was throwing a bug out. And he's standing there. And he's like, I'm sorry I'm late. And I look up and I'm like, my heart stopped. Because, first of all, he looked so good. In his freaking black leggings and shorts and like ready to do yoga. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I got pissed. And I'm like, what are you doing here? Class ended an hour and 15 minutes. Class ended 15 minutes ago. Started an hour and a half ago. Like, what are you doing here? And then he's like, you invited me. And I said, oh my God, I did. And you're here. And after that, he didn't leave my brain. He didn't leave my brain. He didn't leave my heart. And right away, we were just obsessed, and we fell in love very fast. And I was still scared. I was still apprehensive and defensive. But I let him in. And he let me in because he was also going through a lot. He had a lot on his plate, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And it was almost like we found each other when we were both in a place of being on our own, physically, mentally. And we weren't interested in anybody. We weren't looking for that. Mm-hmm. But we came together and we were exactly what we needed. We had no idea. That was our origin story.
That's like such a like movie, like meet cute, like I don't know.
Organic.
Yeah.
Like,
that's how I want to find my
yeah.
love.
It'll come to you when you're ready. I guess because I didn't think I was ready, but I guess the universe has a way of saying, no, you are ready for this. This is gonna be presented to you, and you can take it or you could be scared.
So the universe decided to show you a curveball.
Oh yeah, the universe said, "Fuck you! You're going down into the fucking deepest hole you've ever seen, you've ever met, and you're gonna figure out what to do from there." And let me tell you, when he died, obviously everybody handles the initial death differently, and I was in Hawaii when he died. It was in August. I was having the trip of my life on cloud 9, island hopping. We kept saying, can't wait to see you, I can't wait to see you. Because he dropped me off at my friend's house that night to go to the airport. I don't even know. I don't even have words for how painful that was. I guess it could be described like falling off a building and just being shattered into a million fucking pieces, because I've never experienced a loss like that. So for a while, I was just didn't do much, crying all the time, pain, like my body felt like it was dying.
The initial like grief response, I feel like, can be, people either avoid it at first or they feel it all. Yeah. But either way, eventually, like you're gonna
it's gonna catch up to you.
But I'm curious to see how like the aftermath, like you said, 8.5 months, like that's a long time, but it's still fresh. Yeah. Like what have you, not to turn like something traumatic and grieving into like a learning experience.
It is though. There's
like,
so much I've learned since then.
I just feel like
much. Tremendous.
You have, I don't know your experience, but what I've seen from the outside looking in, like, I don't know, I feel like you almost have like this unique mission, purpose now, like to spread this message and to bring this awareness. And I didn't ask for it, because whoever does, nobody asks to meet grief, and it literally punches you in the face and says, what are you gonna do now? You're gonna deal with me, or you're gonna let me ruin you? It's kind of like, it's a fight. And so you learn to make grief your friend. So, well, the first thing that really bothered me
when it all first happened was people saying time heals all wounds, time heals all wounds, time, like you just need time and you'll move on. And I just couldn't even imagine ever not feeling that way. And I suppose people with depression or, you know, struggle with mental illness, when you get to such a low point, it feels like, and I had never been to, it was a new low. I never been to that place. And it was like, no time is ever gonna fix this. No body is ever gonna fix this. No words, no nothing is ever gonna make me feel less shattered. But with what time has done is it's allowed life to grow around the grief. So the pain of that loss, of the experience, is still just as intense whenever I do feel it. It's just life has grown around it. It's like, I read a description of a little ball in a box, or a big ball in a box, and the ball is your grief. And what people think is that the ball shrinks over time, but really, the ball stays the same size, but the box grows. So life is allowed to fill in and grow and new experiences, but that ball is just as big, and it's just as painful when you do come back to those feelings.
I like that analogy. That makes a lot of sense.
It's true. Like, time doesn't heal the wound. The wound is just as fresh as it was the first day, and I don't see that changing, but it's allowed life to grow around.
It becomes a part of you and your story.
Yeah, it's a fucking scar. It's not going anywhere.
But it doesn't have to rule you.
No. And for a long time, not a long time, I guess time is relative, I was so down. And I've always been a glass half full type of person. People have always said, oh, you're so positive, how you're so happy all the time. And it's not that I'm happy all the time, it's just I maintain a good attitude, even when things are down. But this was the newest low, the lowest low I've ever been. And it still is sometimes. But I know that I can't let that, it's so tantalizing to just give into it and to not do anything, to not go to work, to not talk to your friends. Because for a while, I was not going out. I didn't want to see my friends. I didn't want to talk. I didn't eat for a while.
Isolation.
Yeah. It was just like, nobody understands this. Nobody understands me. But at the same time, since the moment he died, or since the moment rather that we met, his family, and his family was so loving to me. So loving. And especially since he's died, we have bonds stronger than anything that I even have with my own family. And the support and the love from my friends and from his family has been, that's what's carried me. You know, I said in the beginning, it feels like falling off a cliff and just being shattered. But for me, I fell into this, I still shattered, but I shattered on a blanket of love and support. From my people and from him. So there's so much about grief. Grief can show up in so many different ways, in depression, in anxiety, in overworking, and keeping your schedule so busy you don't have time to think. It can show up in so many ways that we don't consider, because we have this idea of what grief is supposed to look like. It looks like, oh, you're just being sad, you crying, or even depression. Because my therapist diagnosed me with depression since I've been seeing her for a few months. And I was like, what do you mean? I go to work, I go to yoga, I see my friends, I do everything I do. I'm not crying in bed all day. And she said, well, your symptoms, from what I told her, describe depression. You don't have to be crying in your bed all day to be depressed or to be struggling with your mental health.
High functioning depression.
Yeah, because let me tell you, I didn't want to teach. I stopped taking class. Like my physical practice plummeted. I wasn't seeing my friends. I started eating meat after 5 years. I was like, fuck it, I don't care. My health everything was down, but at the same time, I was still going to work. I was still teaching. I was still trying to be a conduit of love and light, even though there was none of what I was feeling.
Yes.
But it's really a choice of what do we want to focus on. Do we want to focus on the darkness? Because then the darkness will grow. We focus on love and the light, and that will grow. Whatever we put our attention to or our energy to, that's what will grow. So, I don't remember what your question was to me.
Me neither, but I think that, like,
there's so much.
Grief obviously is hard, and everyone has their own time that it takes
and it's
for them
not
to
linear.
recover. Yeah, for real.
It doesn't go directly up. You're not on a fucking slope up. Oh, I'm positive, positive, positive. You can go up and then you go fucking 10 steps down. 20 steps up, 15 steps down.
Yes.
2 steps up, 1 step down.
That's literally like everything, the basis of healing, recovery, all those things.
Ebbing
it's like,
and flowing.
That's just life, baby. That's just life.
And it's gonna happen regardless, whether it's somebody dying, whether it's a job change, whether it's a friendship ending, or you moving or growing into someone that you do not recognize. All of these things are ebbs and flows. And it's how well can we move with the ebb and the flow, and how well can we detach. Acceptance, that was huge for me, because for so long I'm like, I'm not accepting this. I'm not accepting that my fucking boyfriend died. I'm not accepting that we got together, that we didn't have enough time together. I'm not accepting it. I'm not accepting that he's not here in the same way that he was. And then I listened to a radical acceptance meditation, and it literally changed my life. Because acceptance is not about liking what's happening.
Yes.
It's not about trying to change what's happening. It's not even about trying to find the higher reasoning or the good, which is what people like us have to do to survive. You know, we have to find the bright side. It's not even about that. It's just being with what is. It's sitting with the feelings and just being with them. Not trying to change them, not trying to like them, and feeling whatever they are, whether you're crying, whether you're happy, whether you're sad, whether you're numb, just being with it.
Yeah.
That's acceptance.
That's been like a game changer for me recently, and like processing my emotions. Like,
Yeah.
I would say the most recent thing I've experienced like with grief is like leaving Roots. Like I literally like remember on multiple occasions, like I had many times where I just cried, like choking on my tears, like that kind of like.
Yeah.
And like
So many feelings.
just accepting that it's happening, and the awareness, like bringing awareness. Like yoga has helped me be so much more mindful and bring awareness.
Present.
And I think like I've grown in such a way where I've gone from like everything has to be great, everything has to be positive.
Yeah.
Because that's so toxic. Like you're just gonna push yourself down a deeper hole going that
Toxic positivity is so
freaking.
real.
But I'm over that.
Yeah.
And I've learned like, okay, like this is also part of life, ebb and flow, like you're saying, like feeling your feelings, accepting, radical acceptance, like this is part of it. Like life is changing. It's hard, it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But take the time to
It's fucking
process
ugly.
it. Don't store it in there. Because if you're thinking like this sucks, but I don't want to think about it, take the time to feel it. Take the time to be mad about it. Take the time to feel whatever it is.
Feel it.
Like
acknowledge them.
Acknowledge.
And let them go.
Like think about it. You want to feel acknowledged by other people sometimes. Like, hey, this is how I feel like, and I want to let you know. What about you acknowledging your own feelings? You know?
How do your feelings feel? They
Like,
want to be seen.
wait, how do I feel right now?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, actually, I don't feel good about that.
No.
But radical acceptance, feeling your feelings, it all sounds so simple. And I remember like people talking about it here and there. And I was like, I don't get it. But now that I've like lived it.
Now you're living it.
And like, it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what they've been talking about.
Yeah. Everybody's experience is so unique and so individual. Even my therapist said to me, even two siblings could lose the same parent and they will both grieve differently. And they'll both feel differently and react differently, because grief is so fucking unique.
Yes.
It's your own experience. And honoring however that experience is showing up is how you won't stay attached to it.
Right.
Because what we resist is the fucking train coming again.
Yeah. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
It's the fact that this hasn't happened before.
So my boyfriend was in a train accident. That's how he transferred to the next life. And
A train's about to pass right now.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
I smile because he is so fucking loud.
Right,
like
you
a
were telling me
fucking
that
train.
before.
He is loud like a fucking train, always in my face, in my dreams, in my mental space, in my heart. He is everywhere. There's nowhere.
Anyway, 2 signs we're gonna talk about.
Yes, signs, because this is really what has held me from the very beginning and in my darkest, deepest moments. I guess the first sign was my first flight. I wasn't supposed to be in that flight because the flights were all fucked up and it was crazy, it was hectic because I was just trying to get home. The first flight, I was sitting next to a man. He was in the aisle, I was in the window, and there was nobody in between us. And he was talking to me, and we got chatting, and he said, oh, how was your vacation? And I said, it was amazing until it wasn't. Like, my boyfriend just died, and I'm on my way home to go to his funeral. And, obviously had a fucked do you react to that when somebody says that to you?
You told him that?
Yes, because you
Wow.
know me, I'm an open fucking book. I was before, I am now, I always will be. And he ended up being a psychologist who had lost his wife
Oh.
a year prior.
You never know.
No! And like, what are the odds? I'm like, wait, what? And he shared a little bit of his experience with me and said, whatever he said, I don't even remember, but I remember that he was a psychiatrist. And we talked a little bit about God and the afterlife and signs. Because right away, I have a medium who I had seen a couple times before Manuel died. And so I knew, I was like, okay, I can talk to him through her. You know, like that's my first outlet. So I talked to the man about it. And he didn't really believe in it, but I think after our conversation, he said, I'm going to check it out. Because I said, how does your wife show up to you? So I'm like, I'm waiting to see how Manuel's going to pull up, how he's going to show up to me. And he said, oh, sometimes birds. And so I gave him that, and I have no idea what he's doing now. I hope he ended up doing that. But that was my first thing where I was like, interesting. First guy I'm sitting next to was a psychologist and a widow. I go to Lauren's house, and I had gotten into a tiffy with my mom. Like, she wasn't, I have a bit of a challenging relationship with my mom. So I didn't want to go home.
Especially you're so vulnerable at that moment.
Yeah, it didn't go the way that it should have. So I was at Lauren's house, and I fall asleep on the couch, and immediately I have a dream with Manuel. And he is telling me that he is moving. And I was like, where the fuck are you moving? And he said, I'm moving to Hackensack. And I was like, why moving to Hackensack? The fuck? Like, so random. He lived in Bergenfield. I'm like, why are you moving to Hackensack? And in the dream, I was hysterically crying. I'm like, why are you moving? Like, what are you doing? Why are you leaving? And then I'm like, wait a minute. I could just go see you in Hackensack. Like, it's 10 more minutes. Like, that's fine. And that was that. And I woke up, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, why did he tell me he's moving to Hackensack? He never told me that in real life. And the next day, I go to have breakfast before the services, or maybe 2 days later. I have breakfast with one of his best friends, and he tells me that they were planning to move to Hackensack. Because one of his best friends at the time was in the military, and he was on a mission. I was in Hawaii, and he was on a mission in like fucking Kansas or whatever I think Minnesota. I don't know where he was. But when he was to get back, him and Manuel were going to go look at apartments in Hackensack.
Wow.
And because when I told him my dream, he almost fell to the floor. I'm like, what? What do you mean? Like, what about Hackensack? And he told me that. I was like, what? Still, I was like, why did you tell me that? Like, what? What was that? Okay, like, cool. I mean, but maybe, you know, he said, I'm moving. He's going somewhere else. Like, he's shifting from the physical realm that we exist and live in and see to the energetic and spiritual realm. That's where he lives now. So that was the first thing. And then I go home that day, and I have a package on my bed from Lulu. And I was like, oh, like, did Lauren send me something? Like, one of my friends sent me something to make me feel better? Because I don't shop from Lulu. I'm an athletic girl. I just don't get Lulu. And I look at the package, and it has my address on it. I'm like, what the fuck? And I open it, and it's these biker shorts, these green biker shorts, and a bra. I open the package, and it's from Manuel.
Wow.
Clara, I literally fell to my bed. I was like, what the fuck am I looking at? Like, it was a receipt. Manuel's name, address, email, credit card. He had sent it to me. Obviously before.
Yeah, but like, wow.
So I'm like, I'm screaming at Lauren and Dylan, my friends are downstairs. I'm like, come up here. I'm like hysterical. I'm like, what the fuck? And they're like, how did you just get a package from your dead boyfriend? I'm like, I don't know. So, and that was the day before. It was, that was the second day that I was home, but it was the day before the funeral when I met with his friend and was telling him about my dream. And I told him the same thing, and he said,
wow.
when you were gone, Manuel said to me, I want to get her something, I want her to have something that she comes home to. Like, whether it's lingerie, because his friend was like, oh, get lingerie. And he's like, maybe. But he didn't end up telling Ivan, his friend, he didn't end up telling what he was going to get me. He just said he wanted to get me something. So I'll have something, like, waiting for me when I get home. Mm. And he didn't. But he told him that, like, right when I left for Hawaii. So, and Ivan didn't know that he ended up sending me something. And it turns out it got to my house the day that I got back home. Because I went home the next day.
You know, one thing I've found about, like, I don't know if it's just me or if you experience the same thing, but like being connected to Source, God, whatever it is, like through connecting to your spirituality, I've found like synchronicities, like things lining up all the time. Like you can't stuff like this, things happening at just the right moment. Things happening,
There's
you
no
having
such thing
a
as
dream.
coincidence. It's all fucking
You
intentional.
just notice, and then you don't unsee it.
Because you're living in alignment with who you are, with what you're supposed to be doing, and doing things that bring that out. Yoga.
I think that's
art.
so fascinating.
It is. And when people start to see it, you can't unsee it. You start to see angel numbers, you can't unsee them because suddenly it's fucking everywhere. And I guess unless you fall out of alignment with yourself. But so real. Synchronicities, signs. And so what saved me a lot of the times, or just I guess what has carried me, is identifying my signs from him. So for anybody grieving, for anybody who has lost somebody in this same sense, because there's so many ways to grieve, and there's so many different things to grieve.
Yes. But in this particular situation.
Yes, and with losing somebody, identify your signs. Their birthday, their numbers, anything that you had an inside joke with them, anything. So with him, his birthday, I see all the time, 314. And other numbers that we would talk about constantly show up. Colombia, where he was from, Colombian flag, anything. Identify your signs, and then open your eyes and open your heart, and you'll see them.
You'll receive it.
You'll receive it. And then you see that they're around you all the time.
Yeah.
And with my medium, she said the same thing. Spirit is always around. It's just we're not tuned in.
Yes.
We're not tuned into that fucking vibrational frequency that they're vibing at until the moments that we are. When we're living in alignment, and then we see it, and we're like, oh my God, that's so funny. No, it's not funny. It's fucking
they're all
real.
along.
It's intentional. It's been there. Which suddenly we have put on the glasses to be able to see it.
Yeah.
So many things have happened since then. More dreams where we've hugged and said, I love you, I miss you.
I think that's really helpful to like say, because a lot of people like don't believe in signs, or they feel silly to look at signs, or they feel silly to think about them because other people say that.
Yeah, and
when
because
they
of
haven't.
society.
Exactly. I was gonna say like because other people say that, but like girl, just rock. Like
and trust.
whatever you have to do to get through it. It's your experience.
Yeah.
Who the fuck cares?
No judgment, no shame, and just trusting. Because I lost all faith. I was like, God is not fucking real. If he is, he's a fucking asshole. Because why would he do something like this to some people that are so innocent? Not even for myself, for his sister, for his niece, for his mom. He lost his dad 8 years prior. His grandpa 4 months prior. And his niece and his sister was the entire world. So I'm like, yeah, that God shit, fuck all that, fuck you, because it's fake. If there was a real God, he wouldn't let people feel things like this.
Yes.
But what I came to realize is that I don't trust, at the time, I was like, I don't trust or believe in a God, but I trust in him, Manuel, and I trust in his love.
That's so beautiful.
That is the only thing that I held on to.
Find something to put your trust into.
Yeah. Trust in their love. Whoever it is that you're losing, a lover, a parent, a sibling, a friend, trust in the connection that you have. Understand that you don't need a physical body to have a connection or to love or to have a relationship, because all these things, the connection that we have surpasses time and space.
Yes.
And it transcends this physical place.
Oh yes, for sure.
But I didn't know that. I didn't think about that before this happened. You know, this is, I guess, why I really leveled up in my spirituality and in my path, is because now he shows me this. Like, this is all real. This all exists. Like, you'll get to see it. The more you practice yoga, the more you meditate, the more you connect to me, the more you think about the love and the connection and source, the more you will experience where I am. Because they can't talk to us the same ways that they did, so they talk to us through music. Music is huge.
Yeah.
I literally, sometimes I'll hear a song and I'm like, I hysterically cry because I feel like he's singing it to me. And then I'll look at the song and I see something, a sign from him. His name, his numbers, Colombia, something, and I'm like, thanks, babe. It's like a confirmation that the feeling that you have, because feelings come first before anything else. Our
oh
intuition
yeah, you have like wherever
first.
it comes.
Yep,
Yes.
and just trust it, because every time I feel it, I'm like, let me just go fact check. And then he is. He's like, why are you second guessing me? Like, of course it's me singing to you. So
Wow.
identify your signs because they're everywhere. And trust in their love.
Trust.
Trust in your love. Trust in your connection. Trust in what you've built for whatever it is that you feel like you're losing. And it can come up in so many ways, grief. And if you don't deal with it, as we know as yogis, or just scientifically, it gets locked in the body, in our hips, in our shoulders, in our neck, in our hearts.
Show up
like,
in different
heartache
ways.
is real. Like, heartbreak, like your fucking heart, it can actually feel heartbreak. So if you don't deal with that, when it's easy not to, because there's so many stereotypes, stigmas around grief. There's only one way you can do it, and you have to do it in private. Don't talk about that. People are uncomfortable talking about death. Oh, I don't want to make the vibe sad. Sorry, let's change the topic. No, let's fucking talk about it. Let's feel. Let's accept that death is the only thing that's coming for all of us. It's the only thing in life that is certain.
Right.
So why don't we start talking about it? You know, people run from it because it's scary and it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And we need to change the conversation. We need to change the approach to this conversation because it's the only thing that's coming for all of us.
I love that you're talking about this, and like love that you've come to such a place where it might be a little bit easier for you to share your story and like share like how far you've come, because I know like from other, like I sometimes struggle with depression, like not maybe from death or anything like that, but I know how it gets.
It's just as real.
And you just feel like hopeless. Like that's the number one word I can think of is like hopeless. Nothing matters.
Helpless.
And so I think it's so important to see someone who's gone through something so like impactful to come out of it the other end, because it shows other people like you can do it.
It's possible.
You know, because like you're thinking like there's no way, like you just had it easier, like no.
Yeah, like you can't see a way out of it.
You just have to be open, trusting.
Yeah,
it's all a process.
And trust that it's part of the process.
Yeah.
It's not for no reason.
And also, you know, the whole like time heals all. Don't put a time limit on it. Like I feel like time just limits you.
It is.
You self-sabotage.
Yeah, we just identified to make us feel better and more understanding as human beings, since we hate uncertainty.
Like, sets you back if you put like a time limit on it.
It does.
It's like, oh, I need to feel better by here. Like,
yeah, and then if you don't, then what? Then you feel like shit. It's like, oh my god, why am I not over this yet? Why am I still crying? Why do I still feel like this?
Be easy with yourself.
Yeah.
Like, girl, you just went through something.
Yeah.
So grieving. Like, give yourself that space.
It's like an earthquake.
Yeah.
Like, give yourself time for things to settle. For the water to settle, for the ground to settle.
There's no rush. Like, you don't have to be anywhere but here.
Yeah, and it's lifelong. You know, as long as... One of my favorite quotes is, the deeper you love, the deeper you'll grieve. Or you only love as deeply as you... You grieve as deeply as you've loved. So the harder you love... And grief is the price of love. Because when we love, we take that risk of pouring all of ourselves into something or someone, and the risk... The possibility of it being taken away is always a possibility, no matter what, whether it's natural disaster, whether it's switch of a job, or somebody dying. That risk is always there, or somebody just falling out of love. Feelings change. They're only visitors. When we attach is when it becomes problematic. I don't know. There's
so many great points.
There's so much to say about it.
I think you said
it's a journey.
I think you covered a lot of the basics. Like,
it's forever.
The biggest thing I took away from you and like your expression is just how grief can show up in different ways.
Yeah. And don't judge it.
Yeah.
Don't judge it. Don't be harsh on yourself. Be soft. Be graceful. Be patient. And be loving. You know, grief is love with nowhere to go. It's the risk. It's the price we pay. But it's worth it. After all, you know, I still have those moments where I think it's not. Like, I wish I never met him because then I wouldn't be feeling this pain. But you did.
I can relate to that. Wish it never happened.
So painful.
Wish you never met them.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't feel that way.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be who you are.
Exactly. You wouldn't have learned the things that you did to become the person you are today. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, and you just have to trust it. And I hated hearing that too. I hated hearing that shit. I was like, fuck you. Nothing, fuck this. What the fuck reason is this happening for?
Yeah.
Yeah, but.
Stop trying to sugarcoat it or like make it sound so simple.
Yeah. It's easy to be angry. Because I think anger gives us a shorter, a quicker relief.
Yes.
Of our feelings instead of sad and sitting with it. It's easy to want to just be mad at the world.
I love anger though because it allows me to ask myself like, oh, what is this trying to tell me? Like
information is always being revealed.
Something's not right in here.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't love anger, feeling angry, but
it's a teacher.
I like what it teaches me.
Yeah, and pain, George told me this. Pain is one of our best teachers. Because it shows us just how low we can go and just how much we can grow from it. We can either get bitter or we can get better.
I like that.
What do you want to do? You know, you have one life to live. And loss is such a reminder of that. Like, you were only here for a short amount of time. You don't know when your fucking expiration date is. So live and love, and don't be scared to do those things. Because if I stayed scared, then we would have never connected the way we did and had that love and that love story and the one that continues. If I had stayed scared and closed,
you'd be completely different today.
Yeah.
I feel really happy with everything that was shared and said, and I want to say thank you for coming on and like sharing. Because I know it's not always easy, but
It's not, but I mean, it's easy with you. With people that are so on the same vibe and frequency of love and compassion and gratitude, I know he's here. He's sitting right here because he would not let me have a moment of fame without him, please. Never. So it's necessary. I feel like you said in the beginning, this is what I am. This is my mission right now. Maybe not forever, but right now, this is what I need to do.
This
is how I'm going to honor
right
him.
here, right now.
Yeah, nothing else is real. Nothing else exists besides right here, right fucking now. This moment, sitting on this fucking couch, feeling the breeze, anticipating the train. Nothing else is real. So thank you for giving me an outlet to share and to share.
Yeah, I feel really grateful
Yeah.
for you to be here. And
Gratitude above everything else.
I always feel so weird telling people I'm proud of them because I'm like, who am I to say? But I'm proud of you. Like,
What do you know who you to say? You are all to say.
limiting beliefs, right?
Yeah.
But
human condition. That's part of the experience.
I'm fucking proud of you. I know it's not easy. Depression sucks. And getting out of those kind of funks, like, and coming back to who you are.
Yeah.
And that new version of you.
Always coming back.
That change.
Yeah.
And you fucking did it. Like, look
Doing
where you
it.
are. You're doing the thing.
Yeah. Because I really feel like there's no finish line.
If you had to finish off and just say one final thing to someone who might be going through what you were going through 8.5 months ago, what's one thing you would tell them to kind of keep them going?
Keep pushing, because there were so many times that I missed him so much. At times where I'm like, I'm gonna come see you. You know, like, I'm checking out. I'm going out early. So just keep pushing and trust in their love. If it's a person, trust in their love. If it's a place or thing, like leaving a job, trust in that love and experience that you had. And trust that things will get better. Maybe not right away, but they will. As long as we lead with love, with gratitude, things will get better.
Trust.
Trust. You have to trust.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on today and for sharing your truth and your beautiful expression. I hope somebody was able to get something out of this.
Oh my God, yeah.
But
I was if you choose the right person. If just one person, that's enough. Yeah.
for real. Yeah, I think this is a great place to wrap it up. So thank you again. Thank you. I can't stop saying thank you.
Oh, my girl.
And I wish you luck in your future endeavors, your workshop this Sunday.
Oh my God, yeah, that's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Again,
So
people coming from all different walks of life, all different ways of grieving and understand, because we don't understand enough, because we don't talk about it enough.
Yeah, right?
I'm fucking scared to talk about it. Talk about it.
I love talking about
Fucking
it.
talk about it.
That's why I have a podcast.
Yeah. Talk about it.
Talk
Don't
about
be
the
fucking
hard stuff.
scared. Yeah. That's how you get through it. And inspires other people to do the same. That's what we need. We need each other.
For real.
Yeah.
Well, I'll catch you all in the next episode.
Bye.
All of Christina's stuff will be in the description where you can find her. She's
Grief.
a beautiful human, angel human.
Grief.
Take care. Have a beautiful rest of your day.
Bye, guys.
Trust in the process. I
Yeah.
love you. Bye.